Good afternoon. I'm Gloria Nelson with Tug, and we're so glad to have you join us today for our Tug Connects 365 programming. As you settle in and get ready for the start of today's webinar, let me give a brief introduction for Tug, the usergroup.org, for both our current members and those of you who represent organizations that have not yet joined our online community of Infor distribution software users. Now, we've all heard that phrase before, that knowledge is power, and I can say with confidence that after today's presentation, you'll wake up tomorrow with a little more of both. Today is but one of our many in-depth sessions in our Tug Connects 365 series. Tug webinars, online forums, and member events facilitate the timely exchange of ideas and information, help you work smarter and with more confidence. That's a powerful combination, you can be assured. If you're currently a member, it pays to get even more involved. And if you're not, please visit our website to discover why 2,300 heads are better than one to help you be the best at what you do. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Craig Bassin, CEO of EasyAsk, who is going to be delivering a program that's riveting today on how JLM Wholesale realized next-gen B2B without having to re-platform. Craig, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Gloria. Hi, everybody. I'm Craig Bassin, CEO at EasyAsk. Pleasure to be with you today. Many of you may have attended some of our presentations in the past. One of the things we actually don't want to spend too much time is rehashing information you may already have. So what we'd like to do is focus a little bit on what EasyAsk brings to the party and how it can really enhance Storefront for you today. And so I'll briefly cover that, and then as quickly as we can, we'll really get into an interactive conversation with Dennis, who joined the EasyAsk Direct program, I think late last year, Dennis. And so
yep, that is correct.
Thank you. And we'll talk a little bit about how that went for you, how life was on Storefront prior to that. Tell us a little bit about JLM, et cetera. And then we'll go through that interactive conversation and actually show your site. Robin Aitken's with us to actually show the JLM site and some of the enhancements EasyAsk Direct has made on that. And Jonathan Kronberg's with us from TriGroup for mStorefront. So let me briefly go through what we're doing. So many of you may know, and hopefully all of you know, that Infor Corporation basically said we're going to stop enhancing Storefront about 1.5 years ago. Shortly after that at Tug, we were at the session where Infor presented their new B2B solution and then talked a little bit about the reasons they made the decision to stop enhancing Storefront, which really threw all the Storefront users kind of into a bucket. And the way I describe it is everyone was kind of scratching their head, okay, now what? So at that session, they talked a little bit about why they made the decision. And then later on, toward the end of that session, a couple questions were asked, and one of them was mine. And what I basically said is that, Infor Corporation had chosen EasyAsk as the advanced AI natural language search engine within Storefront, and that we've continued to enhance the product 3 or 4 releases beyond anything the Storefront base had seen. There's a lot of functionality we could provide that Storefront didn't have. And so the question was, how can we continue to work with the Storefront clients and make sure they could have access to that functionality? And we were then given permission for the first time to start working directly with Storefront clients, because we really had never been able to do that before. So that was a game changer. And then later on in that that Tug session, they talked about life after Storefront for the Storefront clients that are interested in switching to other B2B solutions. They went through the usual suspects. We'll talk a little bit more about those later. But essentially, what it came down to was you're looking, if you migrate off Storefront, to something like 6 to 18 months of work to do that, and somewhere in the area of $350,000 to $500,000, a tremendous amount of money. And certainly an enormous amount of time, but especially now, as we're living in a COVID world, and all of us are trying to figure out how do we keep the doors open, how do we, run the company profitably, how do we do it from a distributed basis with our employees, God knows where today. So tackling something like 6 to 18 month migration to something else is certainly onerous, and so we started working on solutions that would allow you to enhance Storefront, get all the benefits of a brand new B2B solution without having to do any of that. And so we partnered with mStorefront, Tri-Group, providing mStorefront, to completely be able to reskin the look and feel of Storefront, and have EasyAsk Direct completely enhance the engine on the back end. Next slide, Robin. Good. And so what we've done together is we've been able to put together a very strong enhancement program, a support program. We have access to the Storefront source code. We have an expert team of support personnel. And so we can take over the support of Storefront. You may know that Infor Corporation, I think, is down to 2 people. We provide the latest version of EasyAsk. It's much faster. There's a tremendous amount of functionality. And we'll actually teach you how to use Studio. And one of the most important messages I convey today is that in working directly with Storefront clients, we found that almost all of you have very little understanding of what EasyAsk is, what it can do, or how well it's working. And time again, the very first step, and I can't emphasize this enough. The first thing we should do is engage with you and see how Storefront's working. It costs nothing. We're not interested in making any consulting revenue on this. What we're interested in is that EasyAsk works well. And 9 times out of 10, it isn't. We fix that in just a few hours. So step 1, and I'll emphasize this later, is connect with us. Let us see how EasyAsk is working for you within Storefront. We'll improve it immediately. And beyond that, we can decide whatever else you'd like to do. First things first, we can make things a lot better. Time and time again, we've proven that to be true. We can show you what Studio is. Most of you have it. We could teach you how to use it. No one seems to know how to use it. Infor provided little to no training on it. And then we provide concierge support. And later on, we can talk about the roadmap for new features and functions in EasyAsk, including something that we'll be talking about in the next webinar, and that's the ability to actually host it for you. So, very briefly, who is EasyAsk? We're Gartner's Cool Vendor of the Year. We are the world's smartest AI natural language search and analytics engine for e-commerce. And that's a very true statement. Everything Google does, we do, but we do it focused on e-commerce for you, connected to your catalog. I'll cover this very, very briefly, and we'll talk a little bit about it later, but I don't want to take up much time now. We've had a TUG promotion. It's gone very well. TUG members have asked us to continue it, and so we've decided we'll do that. And step 1 is we'll provide a search and analytics health assessment, see how things are going. I've already covered that. I won't spend too much more time. We'll make things better for you right away. There's no cost to that. Well, I take a look at what your look and feel looks like, and mStorefront can then, and Jonathan and team can take a look at your site, let you know how much we can improve that. The short answer is dramatically. It can look like a site that was deployed last week instead of the previous century. And then we'll credit the money you're spending today on support toward the cost of the EasyAsk Direct program. And let's move along. We'll cover this more a little bit later. Okay, the thrust of this really is that I think, Dennis, we could talk a little bit about this. I think you found yourself in that bucket that I was talking about at TUG about a year ago. And you had to face all the decisions that we discussed about how's life going to be going forward. So let me turn it over to you, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about JLM, how long you've been on Storefront, how life was with it before. We start.
Sure can. Thanks, Craig. Once again, Dennis Ingamells with JLM Wholesale. We have been on fax, Infor fax since 1986, and finally made the jump a while back to 7.9, which brought Storefront to us. 2015 is when we did that. And in launching Storefront, we really didn't know from a technical standpoint what EasyAsk could do and how it could enhance our company towards our customer base. And since joining with EasyAsk Direct, we've been able to really enhance that relationship dramatically by actually taking advantage of this TUG offer that you had there. And it was a free, initial consultation. You guys logged in, found several things that weren't set up correctly. changed those, got us up to the latest, well, to version 14 at that time. I believe you're on 16 now. And boy, did it really make a difference for our customer experience.
That's great to hear. Thank you. Actually, I love hearing that. In general, if you don't mind my asking, where were you from a revenue perspective? I'm not going to ask what your revenues are. What
Sure.
percentage of revenue did Storefront represent before EasyAsk Direct engaged?
Before EasyAsk Direct engaged, we were at about 1%.
Right.
Today, I would mark us probably around 3 or 4%. Our industry is strictly B2B, and in the door hardware business, we have a lot of users that are not very tech savvy. They will still call or fax orders into us, but
Right.
they do use it for technical information, look up part numbers, find pricing, which alleviates our call center or our sales technicians' time, so they can better assist other customers that have specialty cases that may need to be addressed.
Right. 4% jumps. Pretty good.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's great to hear. mStorefront came in. Well, we're going to kind of jump back and forth a little bit.
Sure, not a problem.
And certainly changed the look and feel, right, of your site.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's great. And then I think provided the ability to take it mobile as well.
Yes.
Was that important to you at the time?
That was important, to take it mobile and to refresh the look. You know, they kind of gave the non-stale website look, but then to be able to go mobile was a huge advantage for us. So our customer base in the field, they can now access the site and look for installation instructions, or look up a part number, or look up a data sheet or a tech sheet right online, and find it with ease using the EasyAsk attributes.
Oh, that's great. And I think on the screen, Robin was just showing, I think the difference between, you know, your basic storefront site and how it would appear on a smartphone versus the, you know, the site after mStorefront had done their work, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Yeah. So you actually have something usable now, right?
That is correct. We have a very usable, mobile, capable website.
Okay, great. So initially when we came in and EasyAsk Direct came in, even before the upgrade, did you know anything about what EasyAsk did, or any clue how to access the analytics?
To be honest with you, Craig, no, we didn't.
Okay.
I learned about attributes at a TUG session probably 4 or 5 years ago. We had 0 attributes set up in our website. And
Right.
I connected with a presenter at TUG. I'm sure everybody knows who that is. And we were able to work with him as a third party and hire him to help us start the attribute process. And then after that, once we went to EasyAsk Direct, now I just deal with Robin or other technicians to assist with creating those attributes that you see there on the left-hand side of the screen.
Okay, great. About how long do you think it took to get the upgrade going?
To mStorefront?
Well, let's EasyAsk Direct first.
EasyAsk Direct first, that was a couple of weeks. That was no problem whatsoever. You know, you guys took over right away and made some changes, got us upgraded, and it's been smooth sailing ever since. And
Right.
mStorefront, when we launched that, it was probably about a total of 4 weeks for Jonathan and Faras's group to get that put together for us.
Right. Yeah. So that's, you know, it's one of the things we talk about. That's pretty quick, right?
Oh, yeah, I was extremely quick.
Right.
Because you know, when we were at TUG, well, the last 2 years, I had talked to other providers, including, you know, EasyAsk B2B, Magento, Unilog, Channel Software, some other providers, you know, and their, you know, standard answer was, you know, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, somewhere in that time frame.
Right. So that's great. So we got it up and going pretty quickly. You talked about a 4% jump in revenue. Curious, I mean, was it that EasyAsk was performing better, bringing back better results? Was it that the look and feel of the site was better from mStorefront? Is there a way you can actually
quantify
give
it?
us some guide as to what might have helped drive that best?
No, I really can't. I think, from JLM standpoint, obviously revenue is a marker or a factor we look at, but the customer experience is really what we want to push forward. And by going to EasyAsk and using your enhancements, the biggest factor obviously was mStorefront, changing the look, feel. It looks like a 21st century site.
Yeah, great.
It gives you that true shopping experience. The other factor with EasyAsk 14 was search as you type. And that is a huge factor for us. Our customers rave about that, being able to just start typing in anything they're looking for. And I think Robin's gonna go ahead there, and you start to see your results right there. And then you can basically pare it down depending on what you're looking for.
Right, yeah, I think Robin is showing that now, right? Yeah, we're really excited about search as you type. And, in general, it's an oversimplification, but most of the storefront base is stuck on, EasyAsk version 12. And with 14 and 16, we brought out search as you type, which really is, a dramatic improvement. And of course, it works just like Google, right? As you're starting to type your search, we're bringing back results. Which certainly helps streamline the search for products and providing the right products the first time, which is what we kind of pride ourselves on. Maybe the second thing that is important is part number expander, right? Have you taken advantage of that at all?
Yes, we have. Yes, that was an additional factor for us as well, because it will look beyond the first few characters of the part number for us.
Okay, great. So going back to your trip to Tug and reviewing all the different, B2B options, there are features and functions that everybody talks about. Everyone, and by the way, I'm sensitive to the audience today because you guys are getting pounded left and right with all these different B2B solutions and get off storefront and we'll get deployed, quickly. But it's, it's certainly going to be a lot of work. But I'm sure you had a checklist of features and functions you were looking for on a new site.
Yes.
Going with, EasyAsk Direct and mStorefront, as opposed to bringing in a whole different B2B solution, what percentage do you think of the features that you were looking for have we achieved?
I would say you're probably in the 90 percentile. Of course, you showed me a product, a piece yesterday when we were practicing that I'm interested in that'll probably be coming out in 18, I think. And I think you're going to show that later for everybody. So I won't say any more about that, but that is an excellent thing that we are looking for. That, and you and I have had discussions, as well as Robin, about a integrated PIM. That is, I think, a necessity for any B2B site going forward.
Yeah. Now, you're exactly right, and we actually have started that, so you'll see that. I'm not sure what the time frame is going to be on that, but we don't measure things in years ever.
Sure.
We usually measure things in weeks. So I would expect that in X number of weeks or maybe a few months, we'll be able to do a PIM integration for you. Because once we get focused on something, we tend to deliver pretty quickly. And one thing I should mention to everybody is that we've actually, bifurcated the EasyAsk product. And so there's EasyAsk in general for e-commerce, and then there's EasyAsk for storefront. So there's a whole separate product with roadmap, and we're working very, very closely with our partners NSA and with Action as well to put together a roadmap for development. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to even be able to host EasyAsk. And if you're interested in that, we can take EasyAsk off your on-premise site. We'll be able to host it, on our site, and then provide more resources for you as well. So I think that might be a good time now. Let me just see if I can, my apologies. Let me see if I can cue this up.
The other, while you're doing that, Craig, the other wonderful thing that we've gotten in the past, or that I have gotten now, is the analytics piece. And you may get into that a little later, but that is just phenomenal for us. We know what our customers are searching for or having a hard time to locate on our site. Maybe it's a word, maybe it's spelling, and that will allow us to, myself or with Robin's help, go in and make it so the next time a customer looks for that word or item, results are returned.
Oh, perfect. That's great. So can you guys see my screen? Does that work?
No, we're still seeing Robin's screen there, Craig.
Oh, okay. My apologies. This does happen to me all the time. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, so what you're seeing is my iPhone mirrored on the screen. And this is one of our B2C clients, and this is Timberland, right? And so if I want to do a search from a mobile device, right, we could type this, of course, if you want, or in fact, if I'd like to, I could just go ahead and, right, pull up the keypad and do a search for ladies waterproof boots under $100. If you guys can see, we've got the results right away. And all you're seeing are ladies' boots. They're all described as waterproof, and the price point's dead on the money, right? And that's working today. So Timberland's one of our largest B2C accounts. And, you know, it's one of the things that EasyAsk has been able to do for quite a while. And we've been talking about it for quite a while, because certainly what we see is that Siri started the push toward the perfect user experience on mobile devices. That is, hit a button, ask a question, and get an answer. It's interesting that Amazon Alexa was the propelling force to really get people to start adopting that. So the way I described it is, you know, we're walking along at the house and we're talking to the wall. We kind of expect the wall to understand us. So we've now brought that into the e-commerce world in B2C and also in B2B. So whenever you guys are ready for that, we're ready to do that as well. And I believe we're the only company on the planet in e-commerce that can provide that today. So
that's great. That's the product that I was referring to earlier. That is just phenomenal.
Right. So you think as you develop, you know, more and more mobile functionality, it's something you might want to implement?
Oh, definitely. You know, our industry, obviously, like I said, is tech challenged, but
right.
As those individuals kind of phase out of the industry and the new blood comes in behind them, obviously they're a ton more tech savvy, the younger generation, and you know, they don't want to talk on the phone.
Right.
They want to, you know, chat, text, email,
sure.
Voice activate, everything.
Okay, great. So why don't we take a quick pause for a second and see if there are any questions. Certainly we can take questions at the end, but might be nice to see if there are any questions at this point. Robin, do you want to field those?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any open questions at the moment. Sorry, let me just turn my video on. So we've had a few chats going on while you guys have been talking. Jonathan's been having a chat with Laura, talking about you know, what Laura's thinking about doing. That's Laura from well, it doesn't matter where she's from. I'll keep that confidential. But yeah, so Jonathan and Laura have been having a chat about the, you know, possible ways forward. One of the things that I just wanted to add actually to the piece that you were just showing, Craig, about voice input. Most phones already do that. So you can speak to your iPhone. You can also speak to your Android phone, and they will do that voice translation. EasyAsk already understands how to process that text. So you should try on your phone, Dennis, just going into your site, clicking on the keyboard, and there will be a little mic icon on the keyboard, and you could try, you know, some kind of voice search on your data, and that will actually work. There may be some things that we want to tune just to, you know, for the specific terms that you might want to include in the natural language. But I just wanted to highlight to everyone that EasyAsk does this out of the box. It's not something you need to upgrade to. We can certainly improve it, but it's not something that, you know, is any extra. This is how EasyAsk was designed to be used. It just so happens that in the B2C marketplace, those customers are kind of more likely to do it. So we've got the likes of Timberland who've hardwired a mic into their search box to really make it easy for them. But nearly everybody can put a mic on their keyboard and make queries of your data simply by speaking them. I hope that makes sense to everyone.
Robin, I just tried it, and yes, it did put the words that I spoke into the microphone. I did have to hit the search button, but I mean, that's, you know, less keystrokes typing in Mortis lock than you know, just hitting the search bar, microphone, and then the search bar.
Absolutely, and I would have demonstrated it when I was browsing your site on the screen, but of course I'm using a phone emulator, and so certainly the mic doesn't work. But yeah, certainly, you know, simply clicking on the search box will in most cases open up the keyboard, and depending on how your individual phones are configured, you would normally see a little mic icon. And so I encourage anybody to try that on their own sites, even though if you have not part of this program, the site may not look good, but you can try it and just test that your EasyAsk search is set up to handle your natural language. So,
yeah, so
words
let me add
such
just a couple
as show
things.
me.
Yeah, Robin, thanks so much. I'll add just a few things for you. And one of the things is that, you know, one of the things that we do is we engage and we talk about your analytics, right? And we'll actually have a few questions about that,
Sure.
Dennis, about that. But one of the things that we do is we take a look at how the performance is and, you know, what terms your shoppers are searching for and how your synonyms are working. And sometimes you have to create some. So what we find many times is once we've connected that initial catalog, we need to create some synonyms to make it easier for shoppers to search. And that's certainly something that usually does have to happen if you're going to have an accurate result from mobile search, because when people speak, they just speak, right? They're not trying to type in keywords. They just start speaking. So there's a lot of fine tuning that we find that we need to do to make sure that mobile voice search is going to work well. But one question that comes up, you know, many times from, you know, storefront clients that we talk to, when we talk about support, right, is that we're working hand in glove, you know, with two of the top integrators and resellers, right, in the Infor program, and that's with Action and with NSA. And so, you know, we've got some really, really outstanding support, you know, storefront support analysts there, as well as on the EasyAsk team as well. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is being responsive. And I don't think the storefront community is used to that anymore, because Infor has transferred, you know, so many resources away from storefront, you know, onto Rhythm and other things. But we actually do a pretty good job of that. And I guess, Dennis, you know, what have you found? What's your experience been if you've had any support issues after you made the switch to EasyAsk Direct?
With support issues, it's been phenomenal. I usually just send an email in and get a response. And the last few sessions, I've actually been working with Robin. He's been training me for the studio so I can better fine tune our attributes and our search results. And you mentioned with the analytics, it came up that the word pull, which is a door pull, basically a bar that you pull on, customers were searching for pull and it was returning no results for them. So working with Robin, I think the first time we spent about an hour and a half together, diving into the weeds of how it was originally set up, with excluding and including this in our database. And then our second session was another about an hour and a half to 2 hours. We just decided, hey, the best thing to do is let's just scrap this query basically, and let's just let EasyAsk do what it's supposed to do. Find the word pull in the data. And now we have results returning, and it's the correct results for our customer base. Within just a couple sessions with Robin, I've been able to fully understand what or how EasyAsk is looking at our data, what it's looking for, and the language I need to use to get the data back and to show it to our customers.
Right. That's great to hear. Yeah. So one of the things that we include in the program and pride ourselves on is the concierge program. You know, certainly we're going to, maybe for the first time, train any storefront client into what EasyAsk is and how it works. You know, candidly, about half the base has the studio option. So there's a version of EasyAsk that's built into Storefront, and then there's Studio. In Studio are the analytics that give you all the, you know, advanced features and functions, right? And so half the base has that. The other base doesn't. It's a critical component, and you know, my oversimplification is if you're serious about B2B, then you have Studio, and if you're not, well, then you're not. But hopefully, you know, we're working with companies that are serious about that. One advantage is if you go with EasyAsk Direct, what we do is we upgrade you, right? You're on version 12. And what we've been able to figure out how to do is upgrade you to version 16, and 18 is coming out fairly shortly, without having to upgrade Storefront. And what we found is that most of the base is not running on a current version of Storefronts. But regardless of that, we can upgrade you, get you on version 16, and we include Studio in that. That was a very expensive add-on to Storefront. I mean, it was tens of thousands of dollars, and in a few cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars to add that. We include that in the EasyAsk Direct program. So not only do we include it, we train you on how to use it, which is critically important. So we start with the health assessment, make sure that EasyAsk is working well. And then once it's working well, we'll decide what would you like, what else would you like to do? Because we can make, you know, so many improvements in Storefront. As Dennis said, get you to 90% or maybe even more of all the benefits of a new B2B site. And you know, in Dennis's case, what, 60 days was it, did you say? Dennis?
Roughly, yep.
Yeah, which is pretty good. And you know, when you're looking at 350 to 500,000 for a new B2B site, how much money do you think we saved you?
Well, it was quite a bit, obviously. I couldn't put a dollar on it, but, you know, it was a lot less to go this route than it was to re-platform. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I came up with a saying years and years ago that if I were CIO, the next sales guy that walked through the door with disruptive technology, I was going to hit him in the head with a baseball bat. Because sometimes, you know, if it ain't too broke, you know, don't fix it. And in this particular case, we can make dramatic improvements. If you're on Storefront today, it does so much more than you think it does. And we can really make, you know, a lot of magic happen in a really short period of time. I think we've covered most of it. I know we have a contact slide up. Robin, why don't we put that up while we field any questions that may be out there?
Yeah, in fact, I was just going to mention that there's been a couple of questions. And I believe everybody can see these, but somebody asked, how hard is it to customize screens in-house? And Jonathan's been kind of responding to that. But I don't know if you wanted to talk, Jonathan, just very briefly about how the the look and feel and changes are kind of handled?
Sure. Yeah. From a design aspect of everything, we just follow whatever branding guidelines are set based upon the client's needs. So if it's something when it comes to a color tablet or, a specific font type that's easy to handle, but it is responsive across everything. So it is not anything that you have to do any dual entry to. We're basically hooked into all the logic that's already set up within your current storefront commerce files. And we just port that right over and ensure that it renders properly based upon desktop, tablet or mobile phone. So, and since it's all web driven, it doesn't matter what device you're on or if you're on an Apple or an Android. It really just it depends upon how your overall look and feel of what you want it to be. So very, we like to use the term not rigid. We're so used to working in the storefront commerce environment where it's very rigid. So we give it a lot of flexibility between search as well as design.
And I noticed that the question specifically mentions in-house, and I wonder if what Steve was getting at is after you've done a design, is there any scope, if the customer has got any skills, can they tweak that? Can it be changed, or would they normally do that in conjunction with yourselves, Jonathan?
No, we do it in conjunction with what we wanted, with the way we initially lay out that template. We don't want to go overly, complicated and customize every detail of every page. We found it best to ensure that, each page is structured the way it needs to be. But there, at the same time, there's custom modifications that have been made based upon each client's needs. That's something that we poured over originally. And everybody's look and feel, from a structural standpoint, might feel similar. But at the same time, as you've even seen within JLM, searches you type not only within their products, but we also added that right to their filter by manufacturer and brand. So when people are shopping in there, they have a lot of manufacturers, but a lot of their customers initially wanted a way to just search based upon that manufacturer. So as they're starting to type in there, we make sure that it's added for the manufacturer outside of just the product aspect.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think that took your team maybe 5 minutes to do.
Yep. So it's definitely, as we said, it's much more flexible, and a lot of people that have been dealing with Storefront and dealing with Infor in the past have always, it was more 2 weeks to even get a response back on one thing. And then for us, it's more, as Craig said, we work within weeks, not within months or years.
Great. Thank you, Jonathan. I actually have a question for Dennis, and Dennis and I have been running through a few training sessions over, I think, 3 weeks, and
yeah.
And we only do a couple of hours at a time, but the goal of that is obviously for you, Dennis, to feel comfortable, and I guess the question I have is, are you feeling a bit more confident now about making the changes, looking at your analytics, seeing what needs to change, and then doing something about it?
Oh, definitely. Our sessions have really helped. When we first started, I had no idea even where to go to do that. It would have been an email or a phone call. Here's my, you guys have my analytics. I'd ask you guys to go fix it if I could. But we usually like to operate, on our own and try to understand the technology that we have and use that technology to the best of our ability. I'm not going to say I'm not going to call you later on if I get over my head, especially with that poll situation we got into, because you saw the query on that. And I'm sure, we looked at it together and we're like, yeah, this doesn't really make a lot of sense to us. And if it doesn't make sense to you as a programmer or me as the customer, then we need to change it. And obviously you've given me the tools to be able to do that. So that's phenomenal.
Great. So we don't need tomorrow's session. That's good.
No, I didn't say that now.
Yeah. So I know we're kind of coming up to the deadline, and Craig, did you want to run through the contacts before we finish, because in the question box, so or in the, we pass back to Gloria.
Sure. If we have a quick second. So again, what I'd like to reemphasize to everybody, you know, step one, let's engage, and let's see how we can improve your existing site right now. Nothing you need to buy. We just love to see how EasyAsk is working with Storefront. In every case, we've been able to make, you know, a major improvement right away. So reach out to us. You know, we'd love to help you in the near term and certainly in the long term. I think, you know, on the screen, you see all the right folks to contact. Dennis, thank you again so much. I know that you said you'd be wide open to questions. We can't thank you enough.
No problem.
Of course, Jonathan for the mStorefront front end. You can reach out to him directly, and certainly Matt runs the program for EasyAsk Direct. Don Harris, you know, runs all of our support, right, and product enhancements as well going forward. So you can reach out to Don and of course Robin. And with that, I'll pass it back to Gloria.
Well, thank you. I would just like to point out a couple of other things to you real quickly that popped up on the screen. And that is that Jim Lee said, just a comment, he said he's the president of JLM Wholesale here. He said, we've had very positive feedback from our customer base on our website. So Jim, thanks so much for sharing that. We appreciate that. Gentlemen, I would like to first say thank you to all of you. You did a phenomenal job in the panel discussion today. Thanks to everyone who joined us for the experience and understanding the nuances of the EasyAsk platform. And as with most all of our webinars, this presentation will be available on our TUG website. And note, we have a brand new website, so make sure you go over and check it out. It is fabulous. So, you know, go on to the member website and, you know, check out all of our webinar content there. And we keep it there for posterity's sake. So it's there for you to share with a colleague and also to go back and bounce back for a refresher as needed. We'd like to also invite those of you who are members of the TUG membership community to continue this discussion on our forums. And also our next webinar will take place this Friday, this Friday with Jim Spellos and his top app test, not Jim Spellos, I take that back. Facts Friday is this Friday. So watch your inbox for the invitation, and the announcement will be placed on the forum also with registration links. For those of you who are not members yet, make sure you go to www.theusergroup.org and check us out. And as they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap. Have a great day, everyone.